I'm here at the scene of the crime spree, right behind me.
Stranger.
Vice Mayor Strange, you'll address her properly.
You can kiss my foot.
Mr. Rickard, you're out of order.
FBI, we are asking you to investigate this council. Please look into this council, how they award contracts, the bid process, how they use their positions to benefit their friends and themselves, how they use their positions to attack residents and critics and neighbors and business competition. FBI, will you please look into this?
And I welcome the FBI here. If you notice, Mr. Thompson, with his plea for the FBI and his watchdog group, this city runs the cleanest in this whole county. I guarantee
He was served a federal subpoena this morning.
Did receive a subpoena this morning, and we're going to cooperate 100% with the subpoena. And
Most of you who were involved up here, you gaslighted me. You tried to say I was crazy. And now we know that that's not true. And there's a lot of other issues I've been asking about as well.
Well, sometimes your best laid plans, I'm not going to finish the end of the joke, I always say. But I was going to do something else entirely tonight. I was looking over the those thousands of pages of evidence in the upcoming Lynn Haven trial. The big conspiracy between developer James Finch and former City Commissioner Antonius Barnes, the gigantic conspiracy to rob Lynn Haven, in which the charge is that James Finch wrote a check for $5,000. That's the exact charge to former Commissioner Antonius Barnes in a big conspiracy to get all the business. All right, so that trial is March 13th. There's three things that can happen. One, there could be a trial, which I don't think there will be. Two, the U.S. Attorney's Office could, dismiss it because it would be even a small state ethics charge. Or they could, come up with some sort of plea. You maybe find something and say you lied to the FBI about this. The old fallback. We'll see what'll happen, but that's coming up in 2 weeks now. But as I checked my phone right before I was going to start the show and show you some of this stuff, I had all these messages. Holy shnikes, Bernie, did you see the Lynn Haven City Commission meeting that just took place at 6 o'clock? I said, no. And I don't have time to see what happened. So I figure we're going to do something I've never done before. We're going to do the research on the fly right now with you. We're going to talk with the mayoral candidate, Judy Tinder, the former commissioner, and ask her what she saw. I'm also going to try to call on the phone so you can hear Jody Moore with the Beacon of Bay County, find out what happened. And but first, why don't we take a look at what happened? All right. So this is the city commission meeting. Remember, the context here is that they have a vulgar and vindictive police chief who evidence shows had set up a woman for a vindictive arrest for a favor for the former Lynn Haven city manager, Michael White, whose bro buddy was upset with a lady and they needed to fix it. And so they did. They arrested her. All kinds of stuff. As a matter of fact, the same police chief, there were emails, text messages rather, in which he called the commissioner at the time, Judy Tinder, a pea licking, what was it? I don't even remember. C word and all kinds of stuff. I mean, it's a disaster over there. They've got a police chief that that violates his own standards of police conduct. Whether or not he committed crimes, I don't know. I just know that I watched him on the stand talk about a sack of cash that he held after the hurricane for Michael White, the former city manager who has pled guilty and is evidently the prime witness against James Finch in the trial, if the trial ever had. It's a mess in Lynn Haven. But Lynn Haven wants you to know, under the leadership of Mayor Jesse Nelson and the others up there, that they're doing great in Lynn Haven. And there's a lot of evidently there's a lot of people spewing misinformation on the internet, right? Probably being paid for it, is what the current city manager, Vicki Gaynor, told the FBI. She told the FBI that I'm being paid off by James Finch. And I don't know what she said, if I don't know. I remember if she made the same claim, but she had a lot of bad things to say about Judy Moore, the beacon of Bay County. It's a disaster over there, but they're going to pretend, evidently, that it's cool in the gang. I have no idea what we're about to see, but we're going to watch about the first 10 minutes of tonight's city commission meeting. And then I'll have a better idea of what happened, because I have no clue what we're going to see. And then live on the show, I'm going to call mayoral candidate Judy Tinder and ask her what the hell happened. And I believe Judy Moore is involved in this in some kind of way. You know how they are, the Beacon and Bay County ladies. So let's take a look at it, get some context, and then have them explain what they saw tonight right after this.
Have you received a speeding ticket for which you want no points placed onto your driving record? I'm El Saulene, 850-215-0628. Let me help you.
Don't let back pain and neck pain get you down. Find relief at Brown Chiropractic Center on St. Andrews Boulevard in Panama City. Dr. Sherry Brown helps people heal naturally with chiropractic adjustments and deep tissue massage. Call 769-3777. All right, let's go to it. There's the meeting tonight. It just took place. I can see that the screen is a little dark, but that's just the way I think it was live streamed. So let's, you and I together right now, watch what happened, and then we'll get Judy Tinder's take on it live on the phone right here. And we'll ask Judy Moore as well if she's available to take a call. Here we go.
This time we'll have public commentary. Remember to direct your comments to the chair and give your name and address for the record. Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, and first I'll thank you all for your service to our community. My name is Debbie Ashbrook. I live at 2517 Country Club Drive in Lynn Haven, and I'm here representing the Country Club Harbor Community Association of Community Association Neighborhood as their president. There is a letter being distributed to all of you. It was emailed to you prior to this meeting, and I'd like to read it for everyone's listening pleasure. This is in support of the Lynn Haven Police Department and its leadership. So the Board of Directors of the Country Club Harbor Community Association is greatly concerned regarding the recent news stories published about the potential future status of the Lynn Haven Police Department. As residents of the city of Lynn Haven and the elected board of over 300 homeowners in our community, we are compelled to make our position known to the Lynn Haven elected city officials. As a board and community, we greatly appreciate the support and commitment provided to our residents by the Lynn Haven Police Department, its officers, and the leadership of this department. They have gone above and beyond to keep our community safe and implemented proactive law enforcement strategies. As an HOA, we actively partner with the Lynn Haven Police Department on several occasions to support crime-fighting efforts. This is most recently evident by our Homeowners Association purchase of multiple flock cameras, which provide access for alerts to both the Lynn Haven Police Department and the Bay County Sheriff Office. When Chief Rainey spoke at our Homeowners Association meeting last month, he shared that since the installation of these cameras within our community, 2 wanton felons had entered our neighborhood and were able to be apprehended. The information was well received by our association and demonstrated our commitment to helping local law enforcement maintain a safe community. Like many in Bay County, we too have great respect and admiration for the work and professionalism of the Bay County Sheriff's Office. They work tirelessly to make our community safe and have excellent leadership. We also believe over the years, our city has invested significant resources in the development of an efficient and effective local police department. And if this band could be reconstructed without erroneous and disproportionate expenses by the city and its taxpayers. Public safety is one of the most important issues for many of our residents. For that reason, we, the board of the Country Club Harbor Community Association, desire to make it explicitly clear that we value and support the work of the Lynn Haven Police Department and recognize the value it brings to our community. It is our hope that our current and future elected officials will share our sentiments and support the presence and work of the Lynn Haven Police Department. I thank you for listening.
Thank you.
All right, so we see now I get an idea of why everybody was surprised. So my experience has been in the past, since about 2015, covering closely local politics, is especially under the law firm that represents the city of Lynn Haven, which is the same law firm that represents the city of Panama City Beach. So I'm very familiar with these guys. This looks like one of those things where it's a public relations move. They know that the police, not the police department, the chief of police, Ricky Ramey, whose behavior has been vulgar and vindictive. So there's obviously an outcry. As a matter of fact, Judy Tinder, the mayoral candidate and former commissioner, has called for his resignation and firing. The other commissioners said, no, he's outstanding. And he's got a First Amendment right to call members of the council, what was it, a dyke pee licking C word. All right. So get over yourself already. And so we've got the country club board, the HOA, the lady said, the president, with 300 homeowners who really appreciate the professionalism and security provided by the Lynn Haven Police Department. That's a big show of support. And the council, the commissioners all listened. And I'm sure they're very happy because, for example, despite the vulgarity, okay, so evidently, oh, well, it's a live show where we're doing research together. I'm going to let you guys, I'm going to let Judy Tinder and Jody Moore fill in the details because I'm learning this with you. All right, let's keep going here and see what other people in the community have to say. That lady got her, whole 3 minutes. Let's see what everybody else has to say.
Additional public commentary.
Jody Moore on Amherst Street. I'm really unaware of anybody wanting to do away with the Lynn Haven Police Department, so I don't know where that comes from. So as we all know, the former Lynn Haven Mayor, Margot Anderson, pled guilty to lying to the FBI. She said she had met Mickey White in December or January, but agreed with the FBI she had actually met him in October. In exchange for that plea, all the other 64 charges were dropped. She faces up to 5 years in prison. I just want to point out that City Manager Vicki Gaynor lied at least twice to the FBI.
I'm sorry, we're not discussing that during this time.
I have the floor and I have the right to speak. This is somebody who is the city manager.
No, we're
she
not
lied
doing that
about
Call to
Judy
order.
Tinder's voting record regarding James Finch.
We're not doing that
And
today.
she also lied that Christy, Jerry, and I were very good friends of Margot Anderson and Judy Tinder. So you're limiting my
That, by the way, is Chief Ricky Ramey. Wow. Holy smokes. So what Jody Moore with the Beacon of Bay County is talking about is the city manager up there, Vicki Gaynor. She told the FBI, so Margot Anderson, the former mayor, the 64 charges against her were dropped in exchange for her pleading guilty to lying to the FBI about when she met Mickey White, the president of ECS, who built the city for $5 million. Okay. She thought she met him, or she said to the FBI that she'd met him in December. The FBI said, no, it was October, okay, of 2018. So you lied to us, plead guilty on that, and we'll drop everything and not come after you again. So that was the extent of the lie to the FBI. So what Jody is saying is something that a lot of us who saw this are concerned about. The city manager now told demonstrable lies to the FBI in official interviews under oath. For example, she said that James Finch, the developer, that Judy Tinder had voted against James Finch's projects until he was arrested. And then she was always in favor of Finch. But during the evidentiary hearing in front of federal Judge Mark Walker, the defense attorneys held up all of the votes. And guess how many times Judy Tinder had voted against James Finch projects? 0, ever. Guess how many times any commissioner had voted no on James Finch projects? 0. They were always unanimous. 4-0 or 5-0 votes, always. Guess who counts the votes? Vicki Gaynor, the city manager. Guess who records them? And guess who writes the minutes? Vicki Gaynor. So and this was something she told the FBI about 6 months ago, 5 months ago. That would be considered a lie to the FBI if the FBI wanted to call it a lie, but they don't. Also, she lied to the FBI. Well, she didn't lie to the FBI about me, because she said rumors are that Bernie Thompson, I'm involved in this now. like I'm in an FBI memo that Bernie Thompson, rumor has it, is basically bought and paid for by James Finch. Now, according to the FBI memo, they didn't pursue it. They didn't say, who told you that? They wrote it down. My name's in it. But they didn't say, who told you that, right? They didn't ask me. They didn't do any of that. So that they kind of wanted that in there, evidently. I launched an investigation into myself. And as I told you, I've received 0, not a penny, from James Finch directly or indirectly. And they know this. But there were more lies that Vicki Gaynor told to the FBI. There were lies about how well that lady, Jody Moore, knew Margot Anderson prior to her indictment. I mean, all kinds of stuff. I mean, I could go on and on about this. So Jody Moore, when she says that the former mayor pled guilty to lying to the FBI, they didn't have a problem with that. But as soon as she said the rest of it, they are shutting it down. And that's Chief Ricky Ramey, the vulgar and vindictive police chief that this whole PR orchestration is there to protect. Wow. Okay. Now I see what's going on.
Am I freedom of speech here?
I am. Yes, we're not doing that
So
today.
I'm allowed to speak about the city manager?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
That's not in regards. That is not in regards to her work here. Thank you.
That is not in regards to her work here. Okay.
As I've mentioned before, what has happened in Tallahassee is in Tallahassee. If you have comments concerning what is happening
in Tallahassee, just so you know, the federal trial about Lynn Haven corruption is what he's referring to. You see that? That's pretty slick. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, baby. Wow. So what we see now is that the Lynn Haven Commission and Mayor Jesse Nelson, they will listen to you if you have good comments about the police chief or any of them up there now. But if you have bad comments about them, all of it stemming from the evidence that came out of this trial, you can't say it. Censorship is a great way of I guess what I'm saying is I've never seen anybody censor another person who was on the right side of the issue. Have you? All right, let's see what else happens here.
With the current business in the city of Lynn Haven, please address those issues. But what has happened in Tallahassee is Tallahassee. We're not focusing on what the judge decided to do or not to do. As I've said many times, I don't want that cloud over us. It's not for me to say, should someone be guilty or not be guilty, or to pass judgment on anyone. We want to keep moving forward together. That has been my objective since I've been mayor of the city of Lynn Haven, is for us to move forward together. And we cannot continue to do that if we keep rehashing the things that have happened in the past. Now we're talking about the business of the city of Lynn Haven. If you got an issue with stormwater, please come up, tell us about that. If you have an issue with roads, please come up, tell us about that. If you have an issue with how we're currently doing things in the city of Lynn Haven, please come up and tell us about that. But we will not be receiving comments regarding the court case in Tallahassee. Thank you.
So remember what Jody Moore was trying to talk about is evidence that's been released, right? The mayor, the duly elected mayor, Margot Anderson, was indicted August 19 of 2020 on 64 charges of public corruption. And that was talked about a lot by those people up there, that sit up there during the meetings, right? But now that the evidence has come out, shows you've got a vulgar and vindictive police chief, and that the current city manager lied to the FBI. And what's really actually scary is that the FBI likes it, evidently. The prosecutors like it, evidently, when their witnesses lie to promote a narrative that has fallen apart because it wasn't true. That's scary, because when you have corrupt local governments, you really need, that's the job of the FBI and the sheriff's office. And our sheriff's office does have a public trust unit, but the public trust unit guys were very involved in all of this. Also with Ricky Ramey, the police chief of Lynn Haven. So this is incredible. And I guess with the iron fist of the mayor, and with the police chief himself standing there looking at this broad, turning the microphone away, everybody knows what comes next if you don't go sit your ass down. And maybe even if you do with this police chief, as we've seen. All right, I'm going to watch this a little bit more, see what else happens, what else transpires here, and then we're going to call mayoral candidate. The election is in like 6 weeks. We're going to call Judy Tinder on the phone, and I'm going to ask her if she's ever seen anything like this. And also, I'm going to try to reach Jody Moore, who you just saw.
Additional public commentary.
Mr. Mayor and Commissioners and City Manager, give me my flowers while I yet live. so that I can see the beauty they bring. Speak kind words to me while I can hear them. And I stand here today, right now, to say to the commissioners and to this audience, I thought I was a pretty good mayor when I was mayor. But this man has superseded what I did. And I just want to say thank you. I don't know if I could listen to some people and be grateful to them. And I had to do the same thing you just did at one of my meetings. But if you would just come to Mosley High School and listen to those young people and the admiration they had for him, you'd be very proud. He and I go together to those meetings, and at the last meeting we went to, the students asked questions that grown folk don't know how.
All right. I just want to make an observation. First of all, amen to what the lady said, but I don't know, and forget, the mayor didn't make her give her name and address as he does everybody else. So, I don't know, but this doesn't appear to be comments about city business, does it? I want her to be able to say whatever she wants for 3 minutes, just like I want everybody to say what they want for 3 minutes. Get it out there. Let it be out in the open. All right. Everybody should be able to say what they want for 3 minutes. But I think I get the gist of it now. All right. So what I want to do is call mayoral candidate Judy Tinder, get her on the phone, and get her take on this. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to share with you my thanks to the other sponsors.
You want to look good? You want to feel good? Little John's Big and Tall is where it's at. Right across the street from Sky's Pizza Pie, 5700 North Davis Highway. You can find out more online at littlejohnsbigandtall.com. He's also a member of the iTex trading community, where your iTex dollars are welcome.
It's a hot time in Florida, and my friend Ryan can make sure your air conditioning is running at peak efficiency. He could even install a new one, built to a higher standard, American standard. Find out more at pcairrepair.com. All right, we are calling Judy Tinder right now.
Hello, this is Judy.
Hi, Judy. It's Bernie Thompson, and I just watched the beginning of that meeting. Holy smokes.
Yeah, that was something.
I want to make sure, I'm going to ask in the comment section if everybody can hear you, because you are just on my cell phone and I'm holding it up to the speaker. So I'm looking at your comments. Will you let us know if you can hear former commissioner and mayoral candidate Judy Tinder? So Judy, I just watched it. What was your reaction when you saw that?
I have to say, it just took me back. I was really surprised in a way.
Yeah, in a way. So you were the commissioner that police chief made that text message about, and I think we've all heard it enough. And you called for his resignation, and not a single one of them joined you, even to have a meeting to discuss it. So the thing that I'm noticing, Judy, is that the conversation is not even being had in public.
No. Yeah.
That's a pretty. How would you have handled this if you were the mayor and you were running? By the way, when is the election?
The election is on April 18th. And well, I have to honestly say that my campaign message is, let's give the city back to the people. And this right here tonight is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. The city belongs to the people, and yet right now they're not even being allowed to speak. And that to me is just a crime.
Yeah, it's amazing. They certainly don't want people to hear, you know, what citizens and residents and others are thinking and are feeling it. And it's not like you know, it's not like we have these concerns for no reason. I mean, this is evidence and text messages that came out of this whole corruption
Right.
case.
And the part that I thought was very interesting, and I have to say, I was watching the meeting, and as I was listening, as soon as Jody, she started out her public comment by saying, as many of you know, Mayor Margot Anderson has taken a plea, and anyway, she was going on about that, and she said, for giving the FBI the wrong month. And then as soon as she said, but Vicky Gaynor has lied, and when she said that, the mayor jumped right in and said, we're not discussing Tallahassee. We're not going to talk about Tallahassee. And of course, Jody kept talking, and he said, we are not discussing Tallahassee. And then all of a sudden, the chief of police comes up to the podium and grabs the speaker and turns it backwards. And of course, Jody kept talking, but I couldn't understand what she was saying at that point. And the part that I thought was so interesting was at the end of public commentary. It was the attorney's report, and he wanted to make it very clear to everyone that it was entirely, I believe I'm paraphrasing, but what he said was, it's entirely up to the mayor if people even get to speak, but he certainly has the right not to allow them to speak if that's what he chooses, the mayor.
So I know a little bit about this because I was involved in a lawsuit against the city of Panama City Beach, and what a federal judge ruled in Pensacola was that on agenda, okay, so there's two different times of public comments. The first public comments are about anything, and the second type of public comments are as each agenda are about the agenda items. And here's how the law is. The law says that we all have an opportunity to make public comments, no matter whether you're a resident or not, about agenda items. But the city does not even have to have a public commentary period on general items. But if they do have a period on general items, everybody needs to be treated the same. And what I'm seeing here is that they're not being treated the same. And it is not simply up to a mayor. The attorney, Kevin Obos, who works for the same law firm that represents the city of Panama City Beach, is either uninformed or he's misleading people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, like I said, I was just blown away. The whole thing really took me back because we have got to give this city back to the people.
Well, it evidently some people are happy.
Well, actually, I really believe in my heart that it's everybody. You know, we work for the people, and everybody seems to have forgotten that.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate your message because I did not watch this. I was doing other stuff, and right as I was about to start a show and other stuff, I realized that this is more important, and I didn't have time to look into it. So I'm glad that you came on. Judy Tinder, running for mayor of Lynn Haven. Tell us how long you served as a commissioner and what you thought the city did well, and where you think the city needs to improve, Judy, before I let you go.
Okay, well, I was elected in 2017 in April as a commissioner, and I just resigned last month so that I could run for mayor. I think we have things to improve, but my basic desire is to make sure that the people get what they need. I think we have improved a great deal on stormwater and all of that. We still have a long ways to go. But I think there are ways for us to help our people and remember that they're the boss. They are the people that pay our salaries.
Yeah.
And it's their money. And I think we need to maybe relocate some of the funds to issues that are more important than others.
Judy, while I have you on here, one of the issues that Jody Moore pointed out, she said that the current city manager, Vicki Gaynor, lied about you to the FBI, telling the FBI less than 6 months ago that you voted no. You used to vote no on James Finch, on projects in which James Finch was the bidder and in which the staff recommended Phoenix Construction. And everybody voted for it. I mean, it was unbelievable at the evidentiary hearing on December 12th when the defense attorney showed that nobody had ever voted against a Finch project that was recommended by staff. Were you surprised to hear that Vicki Gaynor, the city manager of all people, would have said that about you to the FBI?
I was very surprised because they keep very detailed records, and she does take the roll for our decisions, and they also put them in the minutes. And I was very surprised that she told them that. Mm-hmm.
I'm even, well, I don't know if this is true, but I'm more surprised / disappointed that the FBI and the prosecutors care about some lies told by some people and not bigger lies told by other people.
And you know what? What's good for the goose is good for the gander. And that's how I was raised. And I think everybody should be held accountable for what comes out of their mouth and what they say, especially under oath in federal court.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, Judy Tinder for Mayor, Lynn Haven, I appreciate it very much.
Well, thank you so much for calling.
All right. I appreciate it. Bye-bye. I'll talk to you soon. Whew. All right. I'll tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to call and see if we can get a hold of Jody Moore. All right. Let's see here. New York Times. I'm looking at my phone. New York Times, Washington Post, USA Today, Beacon of Bay County. There we go. All right. I'm just looking at my list of news outlets. All right, let's see if Jody Moore is available. Hello?
Hi, Jody.
Jody, are you watching the show?
I am, and I got my compadre here with me.
So the two ladies, the Beacon of Bay County, we got Jerry and Jody. Were you both at the meeting today?
Yes.
Wow, you were awfully close to Chief Ramey there for a minute. What in the hell? For those who don't know, Jody Moore and Jerry Parker, they run the Beacon of Bay County on Facebook, which I hope you're following because that's where you get a lot of news and commentary that you don't get anywhere else. And also, you went up there to make some comments. The mayor shut you down and the chief of police turned the microphone from you. And it was very clear what might happen next. That must have been pretty scary.
Oh, yeah. I asked him if he was going to take me out of there.
What did he say?
Oh, he just looked at me and then he called me embarrassing. I mean, I guess people didn't hear me. I said, "You're calling me embarrassing?" Wow. So I just kind of watched him, went back to my seat. You know, there were, Stacey Houchins was in the background. Apparently I didn't hear, but she was very happy about what was happening, that I got shut down.
And that's a former commissioner candidate.
Yes.
Who's
yeah,
been
she
very
doesn't like me a
supportive.
whole lot. Well, she likes the current administration. But I'll tell you what happened after the meeting. You'll find this interesting. So I sat through the whole meeting, and then I went up to, when it was over, I went up to Obos, and I said, "You have a lawsuit on your hands." And then I walked around, and I went up to where Jesse Nelson was standing, and I went up to where Vicki Gaynor was standing. And so I pointed at Vicki. I said, "You're a liar." And then I pointed at Nelson, and I said, you have a lawsuit. I said, so it's okay for someone to stand up there and turn around and call us Karens. And it's okay for someone to tell, Judy Tinder she needs to get back in the closet or stay in the closet. And you know what he said? You're going to love this.
What? The mayor of Lynn Haven, what did he say?
Yes, Jesse Nelson. He said he didn't hear it. He never heard those things.
Ah, all right. Yep.
I said, really? You never heard anybody say that? I said, I'll send you the video. And I said, you're lying. So I told him that. And so Vicky, she said, she loves me. I love you, like she feels sorry for me. And I said, well, I love you too, but that doesn't mean I have to like the things you're doing. You're a liar. So yeah, that was actually in the meantime, Ricky Ramey comes and stands next to me. And he, was recording the whole thing. I'm sure I actually waved at his little camera as I walked away. And, I turned to him and I said, I'm not going to do anything. And they were telling me to calm down. I said, I am calm. And I said, I'm not going to do anything to him. I mean, that he has to stand there. And I said, what are you going to do? Take me out of here? I said, I know you love to arrest women. So he was just kind of looking at me the whole time. They also accused me of slander. And I said, it's not slander if it's true. So that was essentially it. And I just told him, I do plan to sue. I mean, you can't, here's my whole thing. You either allow public commentary or you don't. And they allowed it. So once you allow it, you can't just have people get up there to speak that you like and then cut off the people that you don't.
Yeah. Yeah. There was, so we want to know what you were going to say. And I'm going to cut you off at 3 minutes, Jody, but I'll give you your whole, but at least I'll give you your whole 3 minutes. What were you going to say up there that had them freaking out like that at the meeting?
Well, I guess I'll never know. I mean, essentially, I said, I got the point across that I wanted to make. And what I was going to say, basically Margot Anderson, who, is pleading guilty to lying to the FBI, correct? She faces 5 years. And and a felony charge.
Well, she faces between 0 and 6 months, and I know you know that according to the to the criminal guidelines, and I'm sure the judge is going to stay within the criminal guidelines. But the maximum charge, as he stated while you were in that courtroom, and I know this, is 5 years, and he had to read that. But I'm sure he'll stay within the federal guidelines of 0 to 6 months.
Absolutely. I mean, because she has no criminal history or anything like that. But the point I'm making, I mean, that is a charge that carries up to 5 years in prison. So I was just going to point out that Vicky Gaynor has lied twice now to the FBI. We can prove it. It's in black and white. So really, she's a 2-time felon and should face 10 years in prison. So they didn't want me to say that. And then I was going to talk about the fact that they had a finance committee. So I was going to go on a different topic altogether and talk about the finance committee that finally formed after 7 months. They had a meeting and I was just, going to say, I look forward to hearing what they have to say. I've gotten up and said controversial things before, and I have never been cut off. I think they might have known something was coming, and they were ready. But the thing is, though, you just you can't. I have freedom of speech to say what I want, and I'm not standing up there lying. I wasn't being disruptive. They just didn't like what I wanted to say, and that's freedom of speech. It doesn't matter if you like what I'm saying. I have the right to say it.
Right, and I just want to make sure that everybody who hasn't been following this as closely as you have understand that what you mean by Vicky Gaynor, the city manager, is a 2-time felon is if the FBI held her to the same standard based on the demonstrable untruths and lies. The FBI can say an untruth is a lie. That's what they did to the mayor of Lynn Haven. They said, you didn't meet Michael White in December of 2018. You met him in October. That they called a lie, which is punishable up to 5 years. And what you're saying is if the same standard were held, that's where Vicky Gaynor could have found herself.
Oh, exactly. I'm not saying she has a criminal record.
Of course.
Now.
I just want to make sure that we're clear on that. And I know that.
Yes. And yeah, that's exactly the point that I'm making. I mean, why are people being held to different standards? I don't understand that. The thing is that the FBI wants to hold people accountable and they want to have people that tell the truth and testimony. You have to punish people who are lying. And currently they're not. Michael White has lied on the stand. And Vicky did. Other people have lied on the stand. Jimmy Stanford lied on the stand when he said that his sister's funeral was not paid for by Duran White. And the next day he had to admit that it was.
And I'll
So
tell you,
how,
and I'll tell you something interesting about that is his FBI memo when the head of the public trust unit for the sheriff's office, Major Jimmy Stanford, he told the FBI that was paid for on his credit card. And again, if the FBI is using the same standard, my goodness, it's I don't even have the words for it because it is so scary and tragic and dark when the FBI allows some people to make big lies to further a narrative when they're only going after one public official who's defeated all 64 counts.
yes.
It is a really crazy story, actually.
Well, I have publicly stated I believe in her innocence. I'm not alone. She pled guilty to what she pled guilty to, and she has her reasons. I think is innocent, and I simply fail to understand, unless there's things that go beyond what we understand, why the FBI would want to go after innocent people and prosecute them and persecute them. I simply don't understand. And, I keep going back to this, and I know nobody wants to hear anybody say this, but this is my tax money. It's your tax money. Don't you want the people who are supposed to be upholding the law to actually do that? We don't want them to go after innocent people. We want to be protected.
Yeah. And
We
speaking
want
of
people
that,
to follow
Jody,
the law.
speaking of taxpayer money, so we have the former owner of ECS, Mickey White. We have the former city attorney, Adam Albritton. We have the former city manager, Adam Albritton. I'm sorry, Michael White. Those three have pled guilty, and there was $5 million that was stolen from the city of Lynn Haven through fraudulent billing. Why do we not know where the $5 million went? I mean, if the sheriff's public trust unit wants to do something productive, can you guys please tell us where the $5 million went? Where is it?
Yeah.
I mean, if there's a lot of people with their hands in the FEMA cookie jar, and it seems to me there are a lot of cookies that have been distributed around. Where the hell are they? These are questions the FBI and the public trust unit could be running down for us.
That's a very good question. And I know Judy Tinder keeps asking that question. It's like, shut up, let's move forward into the future. Okay, well, when you have the cloud of the past hanging over you, and you have people who are left over from those times when Michael White was the city manager and this massive fraud was going on, Ricky Ramey and Vicki Gaynor were there during all that time. They're part of that regime that was in place then. So, you can't move past this until you deal with what happened back then. That's a good question about the $5 million. I suspect that some people got it here and some people got it there. I know I heard that apparently ECS still has their trucks and equipment. Why haven't those been confiscated to repay the city for some of the losses that they had?
Yeah, that's a good question.
If that's true, but that's what I heard.
So Ryan Scray says the money went to the Judy Tinder Cayman Islands, probably. Ryan Scray is somebody who goes to the meetings, lives in Lynn Haven. I half jokingly call him a Fed, and half jokingly call him a Fed. But Ryan acts.
Why would he even say something like that when Judy Tinder is the only honest one up there?
Yeah, it's. I just want to point out that Ryan Scray acts in bad faith for him to make that comment. I mean, he pretends to care about Lynn Haven, and for the real question, where's the $5 million? I would expect Ryan Scray to be asking the same question instead of being a smart ass. Ryan, you're acting in bad faith. You know how I feel about you. I'm cordial when I see you, but yeah.
I know.
It's unbelievable.
Here's the thing.
Bad
We can make jokes about this, but the bottom line is the citizens of Lynn Haven, and actually all of us, since we're talking about FEMA money, every single one of us are victims of this thievery. And nobody's really being held accountable because, honestly, unless somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, even James Finch and Margaret Anderson, they were never charged with stealing any of that $5 million. They were not charged with stealing from the city of Lynn Haven. So right now, I guess Michael White, Mickey, they're waiting their sentencing until the trial with James Finch is over with. So I hope they go way under the jail personally, because they were part of it. But we both know there's other people who are not being held accountable right now.
Let me say something here, because I've gotten on Ryan's butt a few times, Ryan Scray, and the way that my comments show up. I did this. Ryan Scray called me out last time I did this when I made a incorrect comment about Commissioner Jamie Warwick, and he straightened me out. And he was right, and I apologized to Ryan Scray, and I mean to Jamie Warwick. But I do need to apologize to Ryan Scray right now, because he didn't say to the Judy Cayman Islands. He just said Cayman Islands probably. So Ryan, I misunderstood that comment. I still think you act in bad faith sometimes, and I've told you that. But on this particular comment, you did not, and I read it wrong. So my apologies, Ryan, and I'll tell you that when I see you in person too. But I wish you'd get on. Ryan, I do wish you'd get on the right side of history here, and help us chase down what's going on instead of glad handing the people who look like they're on the wrong side. That would be great to have you on our side, Ryan. All right. Enough of that. Jody, I'm going to run, but I want to give you the final comments here.
Well, I just want to say, what do you always say? What's Gandhi's quote?
So it's attributed to Gandhi, and Miss Sarah Moon will tell me that it hasn't been confirmed. So she's my fact checker, but it's attributed to Gandhi. Gandhi said that first, the powers that be, first, when you challenge them, first they laugh at you, or first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, and then you win. And clearly the Beacon and Bay County has gotten past they're not ignoring you anymore, and they're not laughing at you anymore. Jody and Jerry, they're fighting with you.
Okay. Yes, they're fighting, and I'm waiting to win.
Well, I've learned that can take an awful long time. Don't hold your breath, because we'll likely die.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, how much do you charge? I need you, Bernie, the attorney.
Well, I can certainly tell you the law when it comes to defamation in cases just like this, and I'd be happy to do that off the air. All right. Thank you, Jody. I appreciate it very much. Thank you for your service with the Beacon of Bay County. All right. Ryan Scray's going to get the last word here. Thanks for the apology, Bernie. I meant it sincerely. I don't mind your opinion at all. I'm not on either side. As many said, I play both sides. Apparently, I personally prefer the reality. I'm just an individual who agrees on some things from both sides. Okay, fair enough. You get the last word, and I'm not going to take that back. I'm not going to not give you the last word, but I am going to get out of here. Wow. What a day. What a day. Remember that those who censor throughout history have never been on the right side of history. I'll see you soon.